Welcome to Riot Rumble, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca. I'm your host, Justin, and with me as always is my co-host, Dan. Dan, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, we got a huge episode for us today. We got WrestleMania week. We're finally here at the big show of shows. And we thought, why not? Let's do not one, but two episodes for you guys. So we do have an episode today discussing WrestleMania Night 1, followed by one discussing Night 2, which will drop tomorrow. So let's just get straight into it. Wrestling has been very interesting the last couple weeks.
Yeah, man.
The WrestleMania buildup has seen a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but we are finally here. It's WrestleMania week. We do have a lot to unpack today for
This is
Night
going to
1.
be a big one.
Yes.
I'm super excited. So it's been about a year since we really started talking wrestling together. WrestleMania last year was kind of like when we got into it and when I started watching again. It's been a little over a year of Cody Rhodes being our champion.
Yeah, literally.
And now we're back.
Yes.
WrestleMania 41.
First WrestleMania for the Riot Rumble crew.
Super hype. So we're going to talk about Night 1 in today's episode.
Yep.
Tomorrow we're going to film again, and we're going to do Night 2. So make sure you tune in, subscribe, turn on notifications. You can only watch Riot Rumble live from the Media Hub on YouTube.
Yes, amen to that. So we got a big one now. So let's get straight into it. The opening match of Night 1 is touted to be Jey Uso versus Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Ooh, these graphics are sweet.
That's so sweet. I think this match has been the most controversial match, I think, for lack of better words, over the last 4 months. A lot of people disappointed with it. A lot of people were hyped. The build-up's been up and down, but more recently, I think it's been very good. Off rip, the opening match. You happy that this is now the starter and not the main event?
Yeah, so Jey Uso was our Royal Rumble winner.
Yep.
A lot of people were kind of ticked off that it wasn't the main event. If you're first or last, does it really matter? Like you said, sometimes the first match is the best.
Yep.
So it's not bad. I think it's worth being in the middle.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. We were super hyped up for it.
Yep.
When we started the show last year, we were really hot on Jey Uso. I think WWE's done him dirty.
Yeah.
They haven't really given him good storylines. They haven't really given him a good position. And I think because of that, we've got two fighters that big names, but storyline is not in a great spot. And the hype behind this fight isn't where it should be.
Exactly. I would say that definitely the first couple weeks of Jey Uso being the Royal Rumble winner were kind of rough. You know, the timeline on Instagram and on Twitter, they weren't really buying it. And I feel like none of the fans were either until Jimmy Uso got attacked by Gunther. It looked like a murder scene out of a movie. I'd say that's when this really started to turn up. You saw Jey Uso say that God's going to have to forgive him for what he's going to do to Gunther. And I think now it's getting real. And I think it's one of those matches where it's not going to be your 10 out of 10 WrestleMania match. But I think because it's kind of underrated right now, it's going to be good. I don't think this match, any Gunther match is good in my opinion. I don't think he's a bad technician at all. And I think Jey Uso has a lot to prove because I think he's going to go over and win. I hope he does at least. If Jey Uso loses, again, to your point, they have done him dirty. I feel like when we started doing the show, every week was a new thing about Jey Uso going up and then boom, he just loses the match in the end. So this could be Jey's big win. And if it is the end of Gunther's title reign, I think it's a very disappointing reign in my opinion.
Yeah, and I know he's super popular in Europe, especially obviously in Germany. When they had the event in Berlin, he's absolutely huge over there. I just don't think he's resonated with the American fans and the North American fans really well. He's not great on the mic in English, and he's your traditional wrestler.
Yeah, he is.
People would have loved him back in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he'd be a star.
But for modern day wrestling where people are on social media all the time, he's not Drew McIntyre. He's not CM Punk. He's not Logan Paul, right? So I feel like Gunther's great for the WWE. He'll be in the WWE for many years. I just don't think he's the guy who should be holding the title. Maybe do a title offense when they're in Berlin next year or in Europe, but his time is over. So Jay's got to win this.
Yeah.
My only concern, obviously, we're probably going to see Jimmy interfere in some way, and interference can go the wrong way or the right way.
Yeah, it could go either way. Yeah, I would say that Jimmy Uso, he had a good storyline going. He was going after the U.S. title, then he kind of had to shift here. So his story, for lack of better words, is definitely not done. And to your point, this hopefully doesn't cost him. But I think we're both in agreement that Jey Uso is going to win this match.
So we think Jey.
Main
and
event
obviously,
Jey.
Jimmy likely appears because he's not announced in any of the matches currently going on.
So he has to be there.
Awesome.
But hopefully that Uso gets it done. Moving on to another Uso, for lack of better words. So we're shifting gears to the women's division. We have Jade Cargill versus Naomi. We know Naomi, she does have bloodline ties herself, actually. So, yeah, this match, oh my God. The Jade Cargill coming back at Elimination Chamber. I saw it live to attack Naomi. Was insane. One of the best returns I think I've ever seen, honestly. And now after a lot of social media beef too, they're finally getting their match at WrestleMania. And I know you told me off air that this is the first non-title match of a woman in WrestleMania like history, you said, or something like that.
It's been a really long time.
Yeah, like since
very many years.
And that's crazy. Like I didn't even realize that. So this match is historic before it even starts. I think this match is going to be a banger. These two women, I'm a big fan of both of them. And this storyline has been built up for almost like a year now, it seems. Like Jade Cargill was put on the shelf for a while because of Naomi, and now back and forward, it's just been every week something different. So these women are definitely putting their effort into it. Are you excited for this match?
I think in the history of Riot Rumble, we've never bet against Jade Cargill.
I don't think we have.
So I'm not going to start now.
Yep.
I don't see her losing unless, obviously, it's WrestleMania. Interference changes everything, right?
Yeah, literally.
But on paper, Jade versus Naomi, it's got to be Jade. Especially the way she's come back. She looks amazing.
Yeah.
She's in crazy shape. She's super angry. I don't see her losing. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Not to say everything you just said, but we don't bet against her. And I think for me, if there was ever a time to not bet against her, it is this match. She's very motivated. Like I mentioned, she was off out of the ring for months, and she lost her title because of Naomi. And now, after all the dust settles, she's back. We know the attacker. We know it's her. She can't lose. I feel like this could be the start of her singles run as well.
Yeah, there's no way she's coming back and losing a match. And then obviously going back after a title. So
and we have more women's matches on this card, and I do think, I don't know if this is a hot take, but this is the one I'm looking forward to the most, honestly. And I think it's mainly because of Jade Cargill, and we haven't really been seeing her. So hopefully Jade could get the win. And yeah, honestly, I love Naomi, and I love all the work that she's doing, and I think even if she loses, she'll still benefit from this for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. So I guess we'll move on now to the next matchup. This is another interesting one. We have the War Raiders versus the New Day. And these are two of the best tag teams in all of wrestling, in my opinion. And now they're finally getting a WrestleMania match. Dan, what are your thoughts on this?
It's awesome, man. Like, the War Raiders kind of just came back out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Got the title right away. And they look good with it, too.
They do.
So this should be a good match.
Yeah, you know.
But once again, like, obviously with the New Day, lots going on there. The WWE, lots of interference going on, a lot of beefs outside of these two tag teams. On paper, I gotta say War Raiders keep it. I think they just came back. They're on a bit of a run. They look good. They're fighting good. So personally, I think War Raiders, but
it could go either way, honestly.
Either way.
The New Day have a storied history with WrestleMania. You know, Kofi Mania, that was a big thing, and Kofi Kingston lifted the title. We do know that they always come out in crazy costumes. Like one year they dressed up as like Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z. So I feel like the New Day will definitely have an imprint on WrestleMania. To your point, though, I don't want to see the War Raiders lose just yet. This will also be a historic win. If they're able to beat the New Day at WrestleMania, that could just propel them to new heights. And I think what Kofi Kingston especially has done as a heel has been amazing. And I think if they lose, this is only going to make their heel run even better.
I think you're right.
Maybe they win the titles finally at SummerSlam, but I don't want to see the War Raiders lose just yet. So I am with you on that. And yeah, surprisingly, since they've come back, it's been, in my opinion, the best tag team in wrestling, and it shows because they do have the titles. So I'm definitely happy with the War Raiders, and I don't want to see them lose just yet.
It's weird, but it's like the stock market, right? Like War Raiders are new, fresh, just come back. They got to win. If they lose, it's going to mess everything up. So they got to keep going on their run.
And the New Day, they don't need this win. They're record champions already. So
these companies come out in like a Viking ship in their intro. Like that's it. I just, as soon as you said like the intros, man, like just thinking about the intros last year.
It was
and
nuts.
Just trying to like imagine what some of these walkouts are going to look like.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Okay, cool. So moving on now, we have a luchador match for the ages, when we had the legendary Rey Mysterio taking on El Grande Americano. Now, this is one of the most, like, I guess, high anticipated matches for me because we have a legend of the game and a rising star. You know, El Grande Americano has been around for 2 seconds. He's already fighting Rey Mysterio.
That's crazy. First, I have to say I'm super disappointed. I was really hoping that Chad Gable was going to be in this match against Rey Mysterio. They had like a big rivalry going on, but I understand that he's hurt. He's not cleared to fight. So El Grande Americano,
Yeah, what an athlete, man. I don't know where this kid came from. He's insane. Like, the physique on him, first of all, nuts. He's probably like the strongest, most ripped luchador I've ever seen. Yeah. And just him in ring, he's actually crazy. And it's wild that like he could come in and get this match. Yeah. And I feel like that says so much about him. I don't know how Rey Mysterio wins this one, honestly. Like,
well,
this
here's
is going to
the
be hard
advantage,
for
right?
Rey.
Luchadors, typically the Mexican style wrestling, but this luchador, he's probably got the best wrestling skills next to Chad Gable in the WWE.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, that's a good take.
So
it's like when you see someone like Chad Gable, he's not a good matchup against anyone. Now you have a luchador with that same skill set plus all the high flying stuff. I really don't know how Rey's going to do it. No. I think you've been saying the interference. He might need some interference help from the LWO if he really wants to win. Yeah. I think El Grande Americano, I haven't seen a luchador quite like him ever. And I can't even recall someone else that's had this much hype coming out of the gates.
Could you see him lose this match?
There's no way.
Yeah, there's
no way. I think El Grande Americano, we're talking about a future like Intercontinental champion. Yeah. Like, this guy is amazing. I really hope he wins because I hate when they do this, when they get like the veteran that buries the young guy. Yeah. Sucks, to your point, sucks Chad Gable's not fighting Rey, but if it's El Grande, then I don't want anyone else. So I think we're sticking with that.
American made.
He has to win. Do it for American made. So yeah, El Grande Americano, he's going to go over. If he doesn't, I'll be very disappointed in you, Rey. You got to just let the young guy get it. So I'm glad we're in agreement on that one.
And Chad Gable stay out of this match.
I know, please, Chad. Like, he's already done enough. I love Chad Gable. You love Chad Gable. Just sit in the back, be injured, and watch your boy get it done. Yeah. So fingers crossed that happens. But yeah, that's going to be a really good match. And yeah, El Grande has to take it. Now, this next one, very, very interesting. We have a big title fight here as we have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. I think this is going to be the most underrated match of the weekend. I feel like this match, like, as much as LA Knight is LA Knight, I just can't wait to see Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania.
Oh, man. Jacob Fatu, not in the bloodline and fighting on his own.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be so cool. I think he's one of the most loved superstars, I think, on the roster currently, whether it's like trash talking on the mic, greeting fans after the matches, and just his in-ring performance. All the fans love this guy. This guy could do no wrong, and I think he has to win this match. Like, I love LA Knight, but he needs to get that belt off his shoulders, and I need to see Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, on paper, like, there's no way Jacob Fatu is losing this match, but in recent weeks, him and Solo have kind of been going at it back and forth. You know, maybe Tongaloa, not happy.
They could shun him out of the bloodline, honestly.
Like, the bloodlines, obviously, those guys are still kind of doing their thing. Are they coming out still as the bloodline?
I don't even think so. Yeah, like, fully, like, I've been seeing Jacob come out on his own, Solo come out with Tama. But, yeah, it's really cool to see Jacob get his singles title opportunity so fast. He's been in for less than a year now, and we're already seeing him get there. And I think that was the issue with Jey Uso before. He wasn't getting it as fast, and they kind of dropped the ball, and they weren't going to make the same mistake twice. I love LA Knight. I feel like as much as I like seeing him as champion, I don't want to see him as champion over Jacob Fatu. Yeah. And unless LA Knight wins because the bloodline does interfere and whatever reason cost Jacob, like, if he wins cleanly, I'll be very disappointed. Yeah. So I guess are we both going
Jacob
with Jacob?
Fatu?
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu.
The wavelength never fails. Now, okay, this next match. I don't think anybody wanted this match, but we have it, and we have a lot of controversy with it as well. As we have the one and only Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the women's championship. Wow. Like, what? On paper, this match is kind of disappointing in my opinion because I love Tiffy and I don't want to see her lose to Charlotte Flair. But the buildup has been nothing but just, I guess, like, animosity filled. There's been controversy. Yeah. I don't know what's real, what's fake. Like, this has been very interesting to say the least.
It even goes back, though, to Royal Rumble and the fans' displeasure, right? Yep. Nobody wanted to see Charlotte Flair win. She comes back. We haven't seen her in a long time, and she wins. There's other wrestlers like Nia Jax who threw out probably about 50% of the other women in the Royal Rumble. A lot of other wrestlers that probably deserve this spot. I know Charlotte Flair has a history. She's won a lot of titles, famous last name. But she kind of just, like, overstepped a bunch of people, and I think it rubbed some of the wrestlers wrong.
Yep.
I think it also rubbed a lot of the fans wrong.
Definitely.
So because of that, a lot of people not very happy. Tiffy said some things that maybe she shouldn't say. Things have got a little dirty. They're trying to play it up good and make it a bit of a rivalry, but it just sounds like wrestlers mad at another wrestler and fans unhappy, and that's more of what it's kind of come out to be.
Essentially, yeah. You know, there are some feuds and matches that leave me speechless because of how good they are, how good they can be. This kind of has me speechless because of how like terrible it is, really and truly. And like, not to backpack everything you just said, but like Nia Jax, where is she? You know, I know she isn't the most well-loved wrestler, but for the past like 8 months, 12 months, she's been carrying the women's division alongside Tiffany as well. So when you see like, you know, maybe dream matches like that not happen, or then other matches that the fans were theorizing not happen because Charlotte Flair is fighting Tiffany Stratton and is probably gonna win. Like, I hate to say that, but she is probably gonna win the match. I don't know. I think it just ruins it. And like, Tiffany's kind of going out in a blaze of glory. She said some stuff she probably shouldn't have, but it's probably because she's not winning, right? So unfortunately, I'm gonna say that Charlotte Flair is gonna win that match.
I think you're right.
I think this is probably, out of all the matches on night 1 plus all the night 2 matches, that's probably the worst one. And not by any diss to Tiffany Stratton. I just, Charlotte Flair is going to go out and win. She's going to get title number 17, that might be. I don't really remember what it is off the top of my head. And it's going to be all about her. So, unfortunately, Charlotte Flair is going to win. And I think the less said about that match, the better.
And you touched on it. And before we get to the main event for night 1, people who are missing. So Royal Rumble was a big event. We saw a lot of people coming back, making returns. They told us that they weren't just one-time appearances, that they were actually back. Alexa Bliss, she was in the Royal Rumble. I think she made an appearance shortly after in another event, and then all of a sudden she's gone.
Just gone.
And that's obviously linked to the men's with the Wyatt Six. Uncle Howdy apparently injured. I don't think the Wyatt Six went the way everyone thought it was going to go.
Unfortunately,
so I don't know if they've kind of like put them on the back burner. Let's do a soft reset and bring them back. But very shocking to have Alexa Bliss show up. Such huge fanfare, and then her not be there. You touched on Nia Jax. She was the star of the Royal Rumble. Not having her here at all. She, I think, isn't super happy about it because I think she made a tweet about it. We're also missing Nikki Bella. Who
another
returned.
one.
We talked about it, said she's coming back, and then here we are months out
later
from the Royal Rumble. And she hasn't even made an appearance once.
Which is crazy.
So I don't know if maybe she got hurt. I don't know if there was a change in the story. I don't know. And then Chelsea Green.
Damn,
And who knows? We've got stuff going on tonight. We've got Monday Night Raw tonight. NXT tomorrow. We got SmackDown on Friday. Things could change. Other fights could get added. But Chelsea Green, like...
no, Chelsea Green
I've seen a lot of people online saying that she's been the MVP of the women's division over the last, like, 3 to 6 months. Especially on the mic.
Exactly.
And on the internet, too, with a lot of, like, crazy things happening. So to have her not fighting, these are really heavily stacked nights. Like, there isn't a lot of room for other fights. Unless they're planning on having, like, 4-hour, 5-hour events. But
literally.
To not have Chelsea Green fighting is kind of a little shocking as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Even alone, like, not even being funny, you probably could have done Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. You know, that's a face versus heel for a title. That actually was just writing itself there, right? The returning Alexa Bliss versus the MVP of the women's division, Chelsea Green. That actually could have been a story. But I don't know. I feel like just because of Charlotte Flair specifically, there's just a bad taste in the women's division right now. And I feel like, you know, all these women that you just mentioned, we're not talking about like being good in 2025 or being good in February of 2025. We're talking like the last 8 to 12 months of work. And now to not get a WrestleMania moment while Charlotte Flair could just walk in and win the Elimination Chamber, win the Royal Rumble and then probably win the title. It's definitely not ideal. So,
and not to knock some of the other women, but like you just said, like these are just some of the people that were just like in the Royal Rumble making stories and then just like, oh, you're not in the big event coming up. On the men's side, we've got a few people. We talked about Solo. Who knows? He could appear in another match because there is something we're going to talk about in tomorrow's episode about a match that's off. Carmelo Hayes is kind of falling off the map. Sami Zayn probably getting a rest. He's had a couple of really big matches. Probably a little banged up. That story was pretty heavy with him and Kevin Owens. So Sami's maybe just getting a bit of a break. And then Sheamus as well. Like Sheamus has been doing a lot of good lately. He kind of just gets filled in wherever they're kind of missing things or they need some help. But no Sheamus is a little weird too.
Unfortunately there is no Sheamus. I didn't really fully take that one in either. I feel like he's another guy where any Sheamus match, like I said with Gunther, any Sheamus match to me is good. I feel like especially in 2025, this guy's going to have a banger after banger. So there's no way you're going to watch a Sheamus match and be left unsatisfied. So him not being here at all is very surprising.
You know what I'm ready for? I'm ready for Sheamus and Finn Balor to tag team
Yeah.
and be like the Irish Rovers or something.
They need to.
And the Judgment Day to be done with. Because there was a comment about the Judgment Day has actually been done since Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley left.
Yeah, honestly.
And their storyline hasn't been great. They've kind of just been going around mucking things up.
Legit, yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see Sheamus get a little more involved. So
And I feel like him and Finn Balor, those are two powerhouses, right? And they would just both benefit, and then the remaining Judgment Day would probably benefit as well. So yeah, it does suck seeing some of these people be there and then not those guys. Even El Grande, I love him, but he's new. This guy's been there for like 2 months, and he's already getting a spot. While you got like literally Sheamus and Carmelo Hayes, just not being there. So good for El Grande, but what about the guys that have been carrying for the last year? So yeah, unfortunately, those guys aren't there yet. But like you said, we have 3 shows left before Mania, and hopefully they could get in one. But without further ado, though, now we have the big one.
The main event?
What do we got in the main event?
Night 1, main event, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk finally, is it cheesy to say, finishing his story?
I guess so. What it is? I guess it's what it is, yeah.
So we were talking about this even like a couple months ago. Like, I think you had actually predicted this months ago, a triple threat match between these 3. They kind of been leaning into it a little bit. We were kind of disappointed, I think, at the time, but maybe a little bit less disappointed now. We've been waiting for months and months and months and months and months for CM Punk's favor. We finally found out the favor. What's the favor? Yeah,
so we will now be seeing the wise man Paul Heyman no longer be the wise man to Roman Reigns, but to be the advocate for CM Punk at WrestleMania. So Paul Heyman will walk out with CM Punk and not Roman Reigns. A little anticlimactic, but from a psychological aspect, that is pretty crazy. Roman Reigns has fully said that the tribal chief is not the tribal chief without the wise man by his side. And now in one of the biggest matches ever, we're going to see the wise man not walk out with the tribal chief and be CM Punk's advocate again. So it actually is pretty cool. I'm saying to my brother that like after the dust kind of settled and I was like, wow, that was just the favor. It is a cool favor. I do think it is. It's going to be cool to see CM Punk and Paul Heyman once again back together, but it just leaves Roman Reigns in the dust once again, another person turning their back on him. And then you got this wild card that is Seth freaking Rollins, the WrestleMania 40 MVP dubbed by The Rock. He has a huge part to play in both these guys' stories, and what does he do to this match? Because as much as it's Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, it's also Seth Rollins versus the two of them. And I feel like it could go either way with any 3 of these.
Where to even start? So I guess the favor first.
Yeah.
When it was first said, initial reaction was kind of like, is that it? Like, that's what we've been waiting this long to find out that that's a favor.
Yeah.
But then as it happened and you saw Roman Reigns' face and his reaction, he went into a tailspin.
He did, yeah.
And I think for CM Punk to beat Roman Reigns with Seth Rollins, he needed to get into Roman's head.
He did.
And he definitely got into Roman Reigns' head.
100%.
Because Roman Reigns was like, wise man, you're not going to do this. And wise man's like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
It's like, yo, I'm not going to say no.
But then, once again, it's WWE, and it's wrestling, and it's WrestleMania, and everybody's going to be watching it, and it's their first Netflix WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So what's really happening here? Is the
think...
wise man really helping CM Punk? Is he tricking CM Punk? Is he helping Roman Reigns? Or is the wild card the one who's getting helped?
Yeah, which is like, there's a lot of story here. And just to pick up on that, now not only did Paul Heyman owe CM Punk a favor, he now owes Seth Rollins a favor. Because Seth Rollins decided not to stomp on his head and give him a curb stomp. And I think it was very cheap cutaway in my opinion. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But now if we're going to have it, let's play into it, right? What's the favor going to be? Is the favor going to be, you need to help me win the match? You have to cost CM Punk? Because knowing Seth Rollins, I think he'd rather Roman Reigns win than CM Punk win. So if he can't win, just as long as Punk doesn't win, I'm okay with that, right? And does that set up Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman reuniting? Or does that do one better? Does that set up Seth Rollins aligning himself with Paul Heyman, and now the wise man has left both Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and CM Punk, his best friend? So there's a whole lot that could go on there. I'm very worried about this match in a good way. Like, I'm obviously huge Roman Reigns fan, the tribal chief, and I just feel like when you see this match, I don't think the odds are in his favor, unfortunately.
No. I think the likelihood of Roman Reigns coming out victorious are about as good as me making the WWE. It's not happening. What I want to see is CM Punk win.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman actually help him. The two of them have a long-standing history together. There's a lot of shots they've been showing from years and years and years ago.
Yep.
Predicting this moment happening. Paul Heyman saying he's going to be in the main event. Paul Heyman saying he's going to be there with him. He's always been a Paul Heyman man, but they've never actually been like how Roman Reigns and him are, like a manager.
Yeah, exactly.
He's never been like how Brock Lesnar was with Paul Heyman. So maybe Paul Heyman becomes CM Punk's manager. He wins the main event, and for the next year, he helps him get to the championship.
Yeah,
and
honestly.
then maybe he retires. That's the good story,
good
right?
ending,
He
right?
can't be going. He's starting to get old. He can't keep doing these cage matches forever.
Yep.
It's too much wear and tear, right?
It is, yeah.
And I do think, like we saw him on the WWE Stars show, LFG.
Yeah, LFG.
I think there's been a lot of talk about him working with younger wrestlers and like staying in WWE after wrestling. So he could be a guy that for like years to come, he pops in here and there, sprinkles a little bit, does a lot of mic stuff because he's really good on the mic. So I'd like to see him win the title before he goes out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Especially coming back. Like they had the separation, he came back. But that's the good story, right?
That
the good
is the
story
good
just
ending.
never happened. So
Yeah.
the worst case scenario is Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman walking out together victorious.
Yeah, I'd be so upset.
I
I'd
don't even know what I would do.
I'd probably throw something on my TV.
But it's really possible that it happens.
It is, right?
Right? So-
That's the crazy part. Like that, if you said that to me like 2 months ago, I'd be like, I'd just laugh at you. Like,
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? I already don't think we're gonna get a triple threat match, let alone that. Now we're a week out, and less than a week out, we have a triple threat match between the three of them,
Yeah.
and Seth Rollins and a favorite with Paul Heyman. Now, to me, I obviously want Roman Reigns to win, but we've already established that's probably not gonna happen. I really hope it is CM Punk. You know, we finally get to his WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
If you've been a fan of him for years, and you know that that's the one thing that eluded him was just getting the match, not even winning the match, just getting the match.
Yeah.
He finally has it, and he has a chance to fight and beat not only Seth freaking Rollins, his like arch nemesis for the past decade, it seems, also the tribal chief Roman Reigns, who's been one of the greatest superstars ever on this run. So this win would probably mean more to him than a championship.
Yeah.
And I feel like when that's what's at stake, you really don't want to see Paul Heyman to double cross him and turn his back. I wouldn't buy that either, because everything you just said, why would he do that at this age?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really see that happening. There's not enough time for Paul Heyman to become a bad guy again and then become a good guy and then retire. He already is in the Hall of Fame. CM Punk has indoctrinated him back into his life on screen. They might as well do one last run, and I hope this is the start. And there could be some future matchups too, like depending on how night 2 goes, that could see CM Punk in another title picture. But
Yeah.
only time's going to tell on that. But I think we're both in agreement that it has to be CM Punk.
It's got to
to
be
win.
CM Punk.
It has to be
Don't
CM
do us
Punk.
dirty. Don't
The
give us
voice
Seth
of the
Rollins.
voiceless.
Now, I think this is the third match with CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Yes.
And if this is like the Drew McIntyre thing, that hopefully it's done.
Yeah, I don't want to see
Nothing's
this
resolved because Drew McIntyre is still doing interviews saying that he actually doesn't like CM Punk in real life, and Seth Rollins is still doing podcasts saying that he hates Phil Brooks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the plan was let's get them to wrestle, put them together, make them get along, and then they'll start liking each other. But
It did not work.
clearly it's not working.
It's not working.
If CM Punk wins or loses, the Seth Rollins thing's probably done.
Yep.
Does this become a CM Punk Roman Reigns rivalry that
Ooh.
maybe goes on for a bit, or do you see someone else maybe on night 2 or another night, or no, someone that's not even fighting? Who's CM Punk's next big adversary?
Oh man, I think I kind of buy Roman Reigns to the immediate future,
Yep.
but I think long term it has to be John Cena.
Okay.
We can't go another. We have like 8 more months left of John Cena, I think it is now. We can't go 8 more months without John Cena and CM Punk.
Yep.
We saw the tease in the Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
We saw CM Punk diss him the next night on Raw.
Yep.
And now that we have heel John Cena, most likely for the next 5 months minimum, I think in the long-term game, that's the goal, is CM Punk, John Cena. Maybe for a title. That's maybe
Yep.
what I was teasing earlier. Maybe we get CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus heel John Cena for the title. That would be really good. Maybe that also protects both Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns from those two as well. So I think near future, maybe we get Roman Reigns and CM Punk having a feud. They may fight at SummerSlam, or we shift gears to CM Punk and John Cena.
You're hired. You're writing the story now. That's what I want.
Okay, there we go. That's the wavelength. That's the script. So yeah, honestly, I think that should happen.
Yep.
And it's not hard. Like if I could come up with that right now, I hope Triple H could come up with that himself. So
Triple H, you heard him.
I give you permission to use my ideas. It's okay. Use it. I want no loyalty fees, no nothing. Just use it right there. But so yeah, I guess we're both in agreement that WrestleMania Night 1 ends off with CM Punk main event winner for the first time in his career.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think that'll do it for us today.
That's night 1.
Night 1 is in the books. It's going to be amazing. I'm glad that we were able to do a Riot Rumble WrestleMania edition. And what's even better is that you got one more tomorrow.
Part 2 tomorrow.
Stay tuned for that. But yeah,
and
Dan,
we'll see what happens tonight on Raw, because Roman Reigns is going to be on Raw tonight.
My tribal chief. Yeah.
And something's probably going to happen that's going to affect either night 1 or night 2. So if something happens tonight that affects night 1, we'll recap night 1 again, and then we'll go on night 2. So make sure you follow us on Live from the Media Hub and Riot Radio on YouTube. Subscribe. Turn on notifications.
Turn them on.
And tune in tomorrow for part 2.
Yeah, amen to that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you, Dan, as always, for being on air. This has been Riot Rumble, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.